and welcome back to the MILELE readings. We are on chapter 34. I'm sorry if I created misunderstanding by announcing that I would read 33 and 34 from the last reading, but I discovered that I remembered that 34 is such a unique chapter that it should really be read on its own. So we will be reading 34 and 35 actually, after having said that. And you will understand 35 actually goes with 34. So that's what we'll do. Let's recap 33. So the mist is gone from the world. It's gone. And the internet is connected. And so the world is going to be getting back to pre-asteroid normality after a while, but not really, in the sense that there will be a one world government, because the shocking news is Keiko Bays is very much alive and now world chancellor. So while Nathan and Faith are on their way back to Eden 2, and they are very close because they are traveling now on the merchant ship through the Straits of Gibraltar to the Atlantic Ocean where Eden 2 is located. But during that time, they had conversations and talked about how Keiko really, his biggest change occurred after Taseba became his bodyguard. And that change, of course, was a great thirst for power. It just increased even more. Though it had sort of started when he was 12 years old. Also, Nathan revealed that he believes the power behind Mandak's Nubian and Scarlet Babylon and Taseb was the same power behind the Welsh. Also, they talked about Faith meeting Hope, finally. And Faith mentioned how she wished she were on Eden 2 to help Hope with all the stuff happening, especially with Momo, baby Moses. And so, yeah, there's lots going on. And also the Sky Kingdom could be seen as in earlier chapters, like a space station too close to the earth can be seen as like a big star or something. Okay, so let's move on to 34 and 35. And this time I will be doing as I promised. I will read them together. Okay. We're on Eden 2. Please come with me. Hope could barely move. Was she dreaming? How was he here? Agent Mike's twin-like comrade. His eyes were warm and friendly, but at the same time deep and mysterious. He wore a sort of all-white athletic suit. Please come with me, he said again. Don't be afraid. This time his words enveloped her with a special warmth, filling her with trust and strength. Still in t-shirt and jeans from the evening before, Hope quickly flung her bed covers aside and followed. Once they reached the main floor and were approaching the lobby, Hope experienced a deep sense of déjà vu. She was barefoot but felt as if she were walking on air. It wasn't anything visual, but more a sense that she'd done this before. The man in white kept a steady pace, though Hope almost stopped as he walked past security on night patrol. As she passed them, she looked back. They hadn't noticed. Most assuredly, if they had seen her, they would have been alarmed at the sight of the island princess heading for the entrance past curfew. After all, she'd been officially grounded. Gabriel. Yes, that was his name. He looked back to check her progress as they passed between the compound gates. Otherwise, it was as if he had an internal GPS on her. Once he changed directions, Hope realized where they were headed. The journey, for which she would normally have used a travel cart, seemed to take even less time than usual, including the hike up the path to the high point. The warmth that had come with Gabriel's words still cocooned her, and the stars above beckoned her as if they understood even more than she. The mist patch still rolled in voluminous heaps, as if defying earlier news that the rest of the world was now clear of the mist. Also, the wall of mist around the waters of Eden too remained, but had miraculously transformed from its usual gray to rolling white, like clouds on a partly sunny day. The patch remained unchanged. At the top of the high point, Gabriel turned to look at Hope. There was no light, yet she could see him clearly. He smiled, then stepped to one side. Agios stood there. The stars above, a soft, fragrant breeze, warm earth under her feet, and Agios, glowing. Suddenly, Hope's knees buckled and she fell upon them. It wasn't Agios. It was the one her heart yearned for, Prince Adani. He bent toward her, hand held out. At the sight of it, Hope suddenly remembered running with him between her and her uncle in another place. How could she stand? She could scarcely breathe. She wanted to remain there on her knees before him. He was not just her betrothed. He was more than she could comprehend. Going to that other place had shown her that. Surely she could not face him in this place. Surely. Daring to look up a bit, she saw his hand still outstretched. Her heart suddenly clenched. There, on his hand, was scarring. Why had she not noticed it before? She knew it was but one wound among many that he'd borne, remnants from the ravages of the toxin. He'd paid the only price that could save the world, the price of his life, the life of the sovereign prince. But here he was, very much alive. Come, beloved, I have much to tell you. Hope continued to hesitate, but his eyes, full of love and grace, compelled her. She placed her hand in his. Hope wasn't sure how long she'd spent in the warmth of his presence, soaking up his words, being infused with a cleansing aroma that left a lingering taste of, how could she describe it? Indescribable joy. Even the presence of the messenger Gabriel was forgotten. Prince Adani sat leaning towards her in companionable repose, as if they'd known each other forever. He wore a loosely flowing, ankle-length tunic. It was pure white, purer than she could imagine. His dark hair rippled with light, and his bronze skin glowed with incredible life and vitality. And his eyes, oh, his eyes, she couldn't even describe. Each description was soon chased out by another. Her position mimicked his, except for the leaning in. Her mind and heart were still at odds, so different from when she'd been with him beyond the mist patch. There, she'd only known a strange kind of fullness. As she listened to him, she found that the earth was like a soft cushion, and the air a cozy blanket of stars. As I have told you before, our marriage will be similar yet different from marriage here, not of the flesh, since the body will be transformed, but one of mind, will, and spirit. You and those who belong to me, my Kala, my bride, will be more glorious and will rule and reign with me in my kingdom in the new world to come. But before the end is complete, my father has unfinished business with the nation that has sheltered your brother for a time. Israel? She asked. Yes, the Weltschgeese has set up its throne there, and they have believed its deception, believed that its prince is the son of sovereign emperor. They have chosen him and have denied my authenticity. However, not all of them. There are many like those who rescued Nathan, who have chosen me. They will be rewarded. And that nation will eventually accept who the son of sovereign emperor is. That I am. Suddenly, Hope's eyes were seeing what she couldn't see before. It was like a sheer curtain of brightness had enveloped the world. It seemed to permeate Earth. Instinctively, she knew it also permeated the universe. Within the all-encompassing light, there were pockets of darkness, separate from the light, yet still existing because of the light. The pockets of darkness were greater in some places than others. A ribbon of denser light flowed out of the curtain of brightness and was part of the glow of Prince Adani. What is that light that flows to you from the other light? Hope asked. It is my essence. I am in a body, but I am also out of my body and am one with my Father. We are the light. Outside of us, all is darkness and lifeless. And Agios? She asked. He is also that light and that essence, doing my Father's will. Suddenly, warmth increased within Hope's core. She looked down. Light was glowing from her body. She looked at Prince Adani. He was smiling. See, you too have our essence. Oh, she said in wonderment. I see. Oh, what a special moment with Hope and Prince Adani. Wish I could be there, but we are in a sense. New scene. Hope slowly awoke. It was early morning. She looked around the room, feeling as if she'd left a dream where she had wished to stay. Had it really been a dream? But here she was, in her bed. Less than an hour later, she was on her way to the dining hall with the dream no longer on her mind. She saw Agios, and minutes later, she sat with him in the Nutrition and Wellness Center. The sense she got when with him was so much like when she was with Prince Adani. It was comforting. It was not a dream, Agios stated. Hope frowned. He'd given her the confirmation she needed, though she hadn't asked. Something else was more pressing. She leaned across the coffee table, almost afraid to ask what was weighing on her heart and mind. Ask, he said simply. Baby Moses, she began, feeling her heart clench at his name. Will he be... He is protected. Which you must still do will be difficult, but Sovereign Prince has done all that is needed for you to succeed. Be encouraged, Agios said. 35. We are in Jennies, outside of time. Is it time yet, Father? The beginning of the end is already here, son. Dragon, the rebellious, lawless one, has become a law to himself and exalts himself above everything. He has deceived the world, but your bride, my people, will overcome. The sovereign prince gazed across the eons of time, upon the worlds and particularly upon earth. From its inception to when he commanded it to be formed and filled with life of every kind. Sovereign Emperor had willed it, Sovereign Prince had spoken it, and Sovereign Ambassador had accomplished it. The lawless one had sought to rule over it in place of the originally created humans to which it had been given. And he had succeeded, but only for a time. The prince looked upon his father. "I have asked Agios to never leave them alone," he said. "My bride is weak, yet our strength is hers. She needs sight beyond what she sees." "I have heard your request, son. I am pleased that you willingly obey my will and forfeited your life for them. As much as what you endured grieved me, it is worth the everlasting result. For I have desired to be in eternal relationship with them, as I have been with you, as we have been with Agios." "Then, Father, for their sakes, let the end come soon." The sovereign emperor looked upon the prince with grace and compassion. "Your heart is my heart, son. You grieve for them as I grieve for them. Yet in our grief there is joy, for we also experience the fulfillment of all things. We already know the end of time, and what remains is everlasting." The prince, the groom, rose from his throne and looked beyond to the sky kingdom. It was beautiful, majestic, glorious. He'd prepared it for his collective bride. He looked in anticipation, seeing the end of time, to what his bride had yet to experience. The emperor knew the heart of his son, for they shared the same heart. It was their desire that those who refuse to become one with the bride have a change of heart as well. Yet some never would. He saw beyond their coverings, their flesh, to their inner selves. Those without the transforming work of Agios ranged from dim to dark to grotesque, like the lawless one. Rebellious, prideful, hateful, selfish, they could not enter Jennies. Yet his son had paid the ultimate price in place of the Veltschit's deception. The more the collective bride yielded to the sovereigns, the purer the light of their inner beings. Within her body, at her innermost part, the bride was most beautiful. And that takes us to the end of 35. So glad you were here with me for the beautiful scene with Prince Adani and Hope, and Prince Adani and the Sovereign Emperor. All right, please join me next time for chapter 36. Take good care.